Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful and very smoky British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall,
And I'm Zachariah Meisenheimer.
and we've got another packed show for you. This episode, you'd expect nothing less. Steve is not with us again.
Do we hear from him after the boat?
I don't think we have, to be honest.
I think we have, but
If not, we've got that last photo. It's a nice memory to have of him.
There's some very good photos.
Yeah, he should have been leaning over when he took it, but I mean, these things happen. But yeah, we'll plough on without Steve. He will hopefully be back soon. And I'm switching things around for this show. What would normally be the last part, I'm having as the first part. And that will all make sense when you hear parts 2 and part 3 and the songs I've got to introduce each part. So we are starting off with our general banter, and we're also going to feature Wavelength in this part as well. But don't fast forward, it is a good song. But I was going to mention this last week when I'd got back from Scotland. But I thought, no, I'll wait till Steve's back on the show. But because I don't know when Steve's going to be back on the show, we're going to cover this now. Because amongst the many things I brought back from my trip to Scotland, a lot of CDs, crisps, chips, cookies, chocolate, an STD, all the things that you come back from with a trip back to the homeland, I also came back with a brand shiny, spanking new FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 Panini sticker album. The only official sticker collection, it says. And it also says the most prestigious football event.
Is there going to be an online one again this year?
There is. I don't see the point of that.
Yeah, Kirk and I had fun doing the Euro or what? I think it was the Euro. That was a lot of fun.
If it was like a scratch and sniff and you could at least get that new sticker smell, I feel that would work. But have you procured your sticker album yet?
I don't think I'm getting one.
No, but it's Canada.
Do you know how much it costs to fill one of those?
Yes. Funnily enough, that is what we're going to talk about in this part. You've set me up nicely. The sticker album I picked up, which I picked up from Asda in the UK, it wasn't available on the first day of release. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a struggle to get this. But I picked it up on day 2. They had tons of it then. It includes a sticker album and 31 stickers. It cost me £4.99, and it's still sealed. And I'll explain why as we talk about this. So you don't think you're going to get it, even though Canada is in this one. First time they're in a Panini sticker album since 1986.
Is Cava in it with them?
I don't know, because I haven't even opened it and looked at it. I would imagine he is.
Yeah, no,
You could get him to autograph it.
This is one of those weird things where you are typically Scottish. Sorry, you express to us often that you're typically Scottish and that you don't like to spend money on things. But this is one of the things where you're willing to spend lots of money.
Oh, this is something I piss money away on every year. Yeah. And Caitlin is upstairs just now as we're recording this. When she hears this part, I expect her to come flying down the stairs and go, "You are not completing the sticker album this year." I've told her it's an investment for when I'm dead. She can sell all this and she'll have a
Oh,
nice
that's
little
true.
nest egg.
Yeah, totally.
Of course, once she hears what it's going to cost to actually fill it, I might be dead before this one even gets completed.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not planning on getting one, but that could change.
I haven't looked to see if it's available here. I imagine it's in London Drugs as they usually have it and stuff like that. I know you can pick it up on soccercards.ca as well, but you might not want to because there's a total of 670 stickers in this album. So a mathematics professor at Cardiff University, Paul Harper, he did some calculations on this, and on average, basing on the probability of getting doubles, and like for example, when you open your first sticker, you know it's not a double. When you open your second sticker, it's a 99.99 or 98% that it's not going to be a double. And then it slowly kind of reduces after that until you start getting doubles, and sometimes you can get a whole pack of doubles. Sometimes you can get doubles in the same pack, especially if you're doing a Whitecaps sticker collection. Oh, the fun we had years ago opening that one. But Paul Harper has worked out that on average, you would need to buy 4,832 stickers to complete the 670 sticker collection. Now at 18 pence, so I would say that's roughly about 30 cents a sticker, that works out at £870 or $1,350. You got that to spare?
Definitely not.
No. When you see it broken down like that, then it is quite scary. Now, of course, you could get a box. Well, you'd still have to get 2 boxes of stickers because one box is only a maximum of 500 stickers. So you could buy 2 boxes of stickers, see what you need, hang around some schools, colleges, wherever people are swapping the stickers.
Oh man, I almost spat out.
I know. I knew what I was about to say, and I saw you taking a big glug there, and I was
man.
like, oh.
That was dangerous. Almost lost my computer. Yeah, Michael, please don't hang out at schools trying to trade stickers with children again.
Well, Dwayne Rollins was trying to organise some swaps and stuff online today. I saw that on Twitter, and I did try and organise one at a WFC2 game in 2018, and a couple of people turned up, and we sat and we swapped stickers, and we were called sad. I remember Aaron Campbell being there and just shaking his head at these grown men going, oh, well, let me see what stickers you've got. I'll just have a quick look through these.
Who are you personally there?
That's my Train Spotter impersonation.
You're who?
Train Spotters.
Oh, okay.
Not the film Train Spotting. That's a totally different kind of film altogether. But going back to Paul Harper's calculations, the total average cost to complete your album, it's an extra £100 this year, they feel, about $150 on the 2018 album. And there was more stickers in the 2018 album, but they've put up the price per sticker of 10 pence this year.
That whole inflation thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, if you like this sticker thing, you should do it now because there's 48 teams next time.
I know, I might have to take a mortgage out on my rented property to get that sticker album. I think it could be like an Encyclopedia Britannica and come in 26 parts or something.
Oh, man.
Now, if you were somehow amazingly to never get a double in any of the packs, you would still need to buy 137 packets to complete your album at a cost of $185.
Yeah. Remember what was the thing that Steve got us? I completed my set.
Yeah, now that's the thing. Topps seem to do that if you buy a box of theirs, it's a guarantee that you're going to have a complete set in that box. And I really wish Panini would do that, because if you did that, it would be better. But obviously they're not $1 billion or £1 billion, I think, so it's even more, but £1 billion or dollar company for no reasons. They need the folk to buy the stickers. Yeah. So here's an interesting quote from Paul Harper. He says, what is interesting is that if you collect just the last 19 stickers for the book, you would still have to buy 483 packets of stickers based on the probability of getting doubles and stuff like that, which is half the total number of expected packets you would need to buy. Or to put it another way, if you just have 19 left to complete your collection, you're technically only halfway through buying the stickers over the counter to complete it. Now, obviously, if you've got 50 or less, you can just send off to Panini with the ones that you need and they'll send that through. So there's a flaw in his calculations there. Now, what I've done the last couple of World Cups, and I know it's a shitty way to do it, and it does take away the fun of opening the stickers, but I went on eBay and I bought a complete set of loose stickers to complete the album. So I first did that in 2010. 2018 I did that as well. 2014, I can't remember if I did that or if I just bought a couple of boxes and then completed it the other way. But those are ones that I have completed. So I had a quick look on eBay. So right now, including postage to Canada, for between $250 and $300, you can buy a complete set of loose stickers. So for me, I think that is worth it than potentially spending over $1,000 on it. Of course, you could complete it if you're very lucky for under $200, but I think the cost will come down as well. So I'm going to hold off a little bit, but I think that's what I'm going to be doing again. Still not tempting you?
No.
Disappointing. Well, what I've done for this episode is I've brought Wavelength forward from the final part because, and this might surprise nobody, I've picked a song about Panini stickers.
Shocking, isn't it?
I know, and it's by an Irish band that we featured several times on the show in the last couple of years, My Brother Woody. This is a song taken from their 2014 album, Random Football Musings Set to Music. You can get that on Bandcamp at mybrotherwoody.bandcamp.com. And this is the second track on the album, and it's called Panini Sticker Album Blues 1987.
Please, Mr. Shopkeeper, so many stickers and just one I needed. 12 Edos and 15 Davy Langans, and still not even one Kenny Sampson. Getting close to needing just the last 50. Can send away, then hope the post arrives swiftly. 9 Ron Atkinsons and 8 Ronnie Whelans, but still not even one Peter Beardsley. I've gotten in too deep. This sticker book I must selling spares for extra money. Schoolyards filled with rumors of conspiracy. No one's ever seen a John Lukic. Collecting stickers is a bitch. Someone told me that 5 towns over, they're selling stickers never seen here before. 10 Cooper McCoys and 7 Duffy Forsyths, but still not even one Max Day White. I've got it in too deep. This sticker book I must complete. Selling spares for extra money. Schoolyards filled with rumors of conspiracy. No one's ever seen a John Lukic. Collecting stickers is a bitch.
my brother Woody there, Panini Sticker Album Blues, 1987, and giving a shout out to a Whitecaps player in the song, Peter Beardsley. Peter Beardsley.
What's that?
That's my best Peter Beardsley impersonation.
That's what he sounds like?
You never heard Peter Beardsley talk?
It's been a long time. I have. It's been a long time.
Yeah. He sounds like he has cotton wool in his mouth.
Is he actually a Geordie?
Yes.
Okay, because I remember him playing for Newcastle.
He's also a little bit persona non grata as well just now after some perceived racist comments that he made a couple of years ago.
I do not remember that, although I think you talked about it in the show.
Yeah.
While we're talking about, I know we're wrapping up this part, but while we're talking about Qatar, you know, I don't know if you look at where people listen to the show. Do you do that much?
On and off. I haven't done it much this year, to be honest.
Because we do have at least one Qatari listener, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yes, our good friend Simon Fudge, who, want to say, big happy birthday shout out to him today.
You're stealing my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure he listens to the show because after our discussion,
he does.
After the discussion about the defense last week, I guess he sent me some messages about his how shall I say it, strong concerns about Renko being MLS quality.
Yeah, yes. Funnily enough, that may crop up again in the next part of the show.
Yeah. But happy birthday to Simon.
Yeah, happy birthday, Fudgy, long-time friend of both of us. He's having a great time down in Qatar and
working for FIFA.com.
Yeah, working very hard, and he's going to be working even harder in the coming weeks and months. And he's had a great time down there. And for all that you think of Qatar and the World Cup and how they got it and everything that went with the building of the stadiums, I think they are going to put on a great World Cup. The stadiums look fantastic. Still way too hot for me, and there's other issues, of course, in the country. But Simon's going to have a great time when that kicks off. Are you still thinking of going?
I haven't been able to get accommodations.
But there was tents on the beach.
Yeah, but there's not enough of them.
Oh, they run out the tents now as well.
Yeah, there's a few things that are left, but like I don't have like $30,000 to sleep in a tent or.
Oh, I must send you this month's wages, right enough. That does remind me.
Actually, could you send me Steve's as well?
Yes. Well, we are doing double the work without him, so. We jest, Steve. We jest. But yeah, that was Wavelength there with my brother Woody, talking about Panini stickers. And they have always been difficult to complete ever since I was a little boy. You never, because I remember first getting my first Panini sticker albums, probably. I definitely remember having the 1981 English League sticker album. And I don't know if that was my first one that I've got or not. Can you remember the first World Cup sticker album that you got?
Oh, I never got them when I was younger. The first World Cup I remember following was 94. But yeah, I'm trying to. I have some Upper Deck cards from the 94 World Cup, but I don't have stickers.
Huh.
And then I have those Euro cards from, was it 2012? I think Kirk and I collected those and played with those because you could play a game with them. And then of course the Steve thing, which was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The listeners maybe not as much as us.
Yeah. Radio
Gold opening cards on air, but we had a great time doing that.
If Steve's listening to this, maybe I'll get in trouble because I might sell my collection. Or are you short?
Oh no, I'm complete.
You're complete.
The only one I might sell is Alex Morgan's rookie card. I
might sell them all together to make more. But if Steve's listening to this, I won't.
No, of course not. Because it would be
rude.
It would
if Steve tells me he listened to this, I won't.
Well, I'd love to know what were the first sticker albums, Panini or otherwise, World Cup or otherwise, that our listeners have got. You always remember your first one, your first love, and I'm showing you mine just now.
86. I used to have the ice hockey ones. The ice hockey sticker books from Panini.
Caitlin's brother had a big pile of those. I always meant to go through it and see if anything was worthwhile to nick, but never quite got around to doing that.
But then I got into the Upper Deck cards, ice hockey cards instead.
One thing I will say, because I haven't physically held or seen any of the 2022 World Cup cards, but I have seen them online and stuff. I don't like the design of this year's one at all. I don't like it. For me, This one from 86 that I'm showing the listeners just now. Maybe I should release this part on YouTube. I don't know. But this just happened to open at the Scotland page. That is a genuine coincidence.
Hang on. I know that guy. Don't say his name.
What one?
The ginger. Don't say his name. He went on to manage, played for United for a while, played at other teams, right? Straight right on the right page. At the top. Him. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I know his name.
Give me underneath him.
No, I can't see that. I can't see it on the screen. It's too small. What's his first name?
Gordon.
He wanted to be a coach too, right?
Yeah, he managed Celtic and a few other clubs. He also scored for Scotland against. Oh, now
Gordon. I know that. I know his face.
I think he scored for Scotland against Germany actually in the '86 World Cup.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's Gordon Strachan.
Yeah, it's Gordon Strachan.
Also, East Fife legend Steve Archibald there. But that is, of course, not the page that everyone is interested in. It's this page here. It's Canada, fully complete.
I see Ian Bridge.
Yes, and I even got this autographed by Dale Mitchell. Beside Paul Dolan. I should get Doley actually to autograph.
I fancy a Dolan autograph more than a Dale Mitchell.
So if anyone's never seen the 1986 Panini album, if you check AFTN.ca, just search Panini, I have a whole feature on it. But because Canada was one of the smaller teams, it's like double. Each sticker was like 2 players. So it's the shiny crest, it's the group photo, and then there's Tino Lettieri, Bob Lenarduzzi, they're sharing a picture there. Ian Bridge and Terry Moore, Randy Samuel and Bruce Wilson, David Norman and Randy Reagan, Mike Sweeney, Paul James, George Pakis and Ken Garraway, Igor Vrablic, I don't even remember him, and Carol Valentine. Should get, obviously, Carol autograph this as well, and Dale Mitchell and Paul Dolan. But that, I've got, which I bought off eBay, the 1982 album that is not complete. I could have bought a complete one, but being a complete asshole, I thought, do you know what would be fun and to have as a project? To buy an incomplete 1982 World Cup album and then try and complete it. Well, that's proved to be an absolute disaster because the stickers cost an arm and a leg. And I really should just have bought a complete version. But that's the earliest World Cup one I've got. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Peter Stewart that listens to our show that's got the 78 one, which I would love to get hold of as well. But I've got every one from 82. Most of them are mine. I didn't buy one in 84 because I was over here at the World Cup, so that was another one that I bought off eBay
94?
as well.
94?
Oh, yeah, sorry, 94, yeah. So that was another one that I bought off eBay, and it's incomplete as well. But 2006 onwards, I have all completed. And I have some spare stickers going about as well for 2014. I believe you've got some of my stickers, if I remember right, as well.
Was that for World Cup or Euro?
I think it was for World Cup.
Yeah, I think I do have some.
Yes. I also haven't completed the 2015 Women's World Cup one either.
Slacker.
Yeah, so maybe we should start. I suggested this in 2018, it didn't really catch on. We should start a kind of swap thing going for our listeners. I can have Swap Shop, I can be Noel Edmonds. UK folk will know who I'm talking about.
I'm guessing someone who's in jail for crimes we don't want to talk about?
No, he's one of the few that wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the few from my childhood that is not in prison.
How did I forget Gordon Strachan's name?
I know.
I didn't forget his face.
But because I do have all those albums, and if there's an interest, let us know. We might do a little YouTube special on Panini albums through the years.
My RA in my freshman year, his last name was Strachan.
I know I had a discussion with Christian Jack once about this, and Italian 90 is his favourite Panini sticker album because that's his first one that he really remembers watching.
Oh, yeah.
So that means a lot to him as well. So you can maybe get him on to have a little chat about it as well. But let us know your favourite ones, let us know your first ones, and we'll do that in the show. So I just wanted to start this show off with a bit of upbeat chat and some fun and some banter and just get everyone all happy. Because for the next 2 parts, we're going to talk about Vancouver Whitecaps. And we'll be back with that after this.
Hi, I'm Brian White, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Я тебе писала и ждала тебя в ночи. Ты не отвечаешь больше на мои звонки. Каждый вечер оставляю под подушкой зуб. Умоляю небеса назад тебя вернуть. Я была хорошей, а плохой я не была. И всю жизнь как паинька по правилам жила. Надоело плакать, надоело мне страдать. Все равно не выйдет свою смерть предугадать.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, an extended song to kick this one off. It's our Artist of the Month here at AFTN for the month of September, From Russia with Love. It's Ice Peak with their 2020 single taken from their album Dos Vidania, and that was Boohoo, or Baha, or whatever it is that they were singing in Russian. It's a song, it's a beautiful song, Zach. You really should check out the video. It's another one of their really arty videos that they've got. It's a song about crying over her dead husband that she actually killed because she got angry, but now she wants to dig him up and hug him again like she used to, but she knows if she does that his body's going to be cold, so she's just going to leave him for the plants to grow. So fun times and fun songs we play here at AFTN. So check them out if you haven't already. They're called Ice Peak, IC number 3 PEAK. Russian band that is banned in Russia because they're very anti-Putin, anti-the war, anti-government, and a big lot of proceeds from their songs on Spotify and iTunes, etc., are getting given to Ukrainian refugee efforts. So please check them out and support them. We'll have more from them in the rest of the shows this month. So this is part of the reason that I've switched the show up. This would normally be part 1, but I wanted to do this part after we played that song, because I thought, what Ice Peak song can I go with that's going to be very fitting to talk about the Whitecaps and the Whitecaps season. There was Dead But Pretty. I thought that was one of it, but let's be honest, they haven't really been playing very pretty football. So I went with Boo-hoo, because it's boo-hoo to the Whitecaps' playoff aspirations. They're surely now dead and buried, and they will most likely mathematically be so come Wednesday evening. I would put some money on that, but hey, you never know. The Whitecaps' latest loss, that 3-1 defeat in Colorado, dropped them down to 11th place. The Rapids leapfrogged us with that victory. They're 9 points back of the playoff line in the West now, and the 7th placed Real Salt Lake. 4 games left to play, so only 12 points on the table. One more Caps loss, one more RSL win, and they're mathematically toast. Let's be honest though, Zach, and we said this in last week's show, it's our end of season special! Well, I feel we've been doing that since August, but anyway, it's over now.
It must have been love, but it's over now.
Was there love?
Yeah, it's a good question. No, I mean I didn't think that they would make the playoffs for a while now, but
Even when they went above the line.
Yeah, even when they were above the line, I thought they won't. But I mean, the one thing, which I've said in the show, the one thing I thought is their one chance is this whole like us against the world sort of. We have this singular focus of every game's a final, and it kind of
Yeah,
if
they've lost 2 cup finals since that attitude came in.
exactly. But if they could kind of recapture what they had last year, or sorry, the focus that they had last year, and the spirit they had last year, but they have had a lot of things which we're going to talk about that have kind of worked against that this year.
Yeah, well, we'll kind of delve into in part 3, like what now, what went wrong, and what the future might really look like for the team. We'll delve into the Rapids game and have a little look around the West in this part. It was a game that I still thought they could get something out of, but it was always going to be tough because you were missing 2 designated players. And we'll talk about Cava in the next part as well. But they were missing Cavallini as he was suspended. They were missing Ryan Gauld because he was suspended. Both of them quite annoying suspensions for different reasons, and we've touched on those before, so we won't do that again. So I think that the lineup that Vanni put out, all things considered, it was pretty much the best we were going to get. He did go to a back 4. Went for the first time this season with the Christmas tree formation. But instead, of course, it was the Whitecaps that were giving out the presents. They left with an empty sack. Well,
Colorado was the first to in the gift exchange. Colorado,
yes. Yeah, the Secret Santa didn't go very well, and I think the Whitecaps in the gift exchange, they gave away more, and they certainly spent more than they got back in return.
Brian White's face after that goal was like a kid on Christmas.
Yes. It was funny because I didn't get to watch the game live because I was up at UBC commentating on the games up there. So I'd avoided the score.
Yep.
I told her no spoilers. I don't think she understands the meaning of that when I get a message from her going, "Oh, you're not going to want to watch this one. You're not going to like this game." I'm like, "Oh, I wonder how this could have gone." So thanks, Har. But at least you did prepare me, because I would have been getting a little bit carried away when Brian White put the ball in the net in the 8th or the 9th minute, whatever it was. But we'll come to the goals in a sec. The lineup in that back 4, I think is what people have been calling for a while, because we don't feel we have the players that can play that back 3. And Cody Cropper back in on goal, I liked that. When I saw it, I was like, back 4, Cropper in, I like this lineup.
Yeah, I have a less strong feelings towards Cropper than you, and I think Steve and Har and other people do. But we'll talk about that maybe more in a true end of season scenario.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I understand why. I understand the thought process and why that decision was made, and I don't like. I'm not like, oh, that was a horrible. That was the worst decision they could have made. But I still, like I've said in the past, I still think they should be giving Hasal as many minutes as in competitive first team games as possible.
I think now he will get it, because there really is nothing to play for. So it would be weird not to give it back to Hasal. I mean, sometimes it just takes. It's like Vanni's rolling all the dice to see what he can come up with, and it's like, oh, let's try this. Let's see if this is going to spark it, because he is more of a leader back there. I feel, Cody Cropper.
Yeah, he's more veteran. He's more vocal, or he at least appears to be more vocal. Yeah, Vanni rolled all the dice and he did not come up Yahtzee. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then you had in this 4-3-2-1 Julian Gressel, who seems to be getting shoehorned into any position possible at the moment. But fair play to him, he does well wherever they ask from him. But it just feels that when we go down a couple of guys, the depth isn't there, and I'm sure that will be something we touch on in the next part. But I think when you looked at the bench, that was pretty much what you would have put out as a team.
Yeah, I mean, they were limited because of all the missing people, right?
Yeah.
I going back to the back 4. I know he's had some real positive moments this year. I just find it weird when you play a right-footed player at left back. I guess the
Mm.
whole Luis Martins thing has not worked out or whatever. Like there seems to be like a problem between like natural left-footed fullbacks and the Whitecaps, at least in this
Yeah.
season.
I guess actually that was perhaps the really weird one from the lineup is Godinho in there as left back when you do have Martins that you've brought in
Yeah,
as a veteran left back on the bench and then
yeah.
coming on as well.
And then that meant that Brown was at right back, which he can totally play, but correct me if I'm wrong, he hasn't played. He's been most like last year, he's mostly a fullback. This year, he's mostly a center back, right? So it felt a little bit awkward when again, we're not in training or, I don't know when the last time you went to training is, but like, uh, yeah, maybe not on form, but on common sense, Luis Martins is the best left back available to them. Aside, well, I guess
Well,
Gutierrez, is
with
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez being frozen out and
Yeah.
featuring with WFC
So
too, yeah.
excluding Gutierrez, Martins is the most natural left wing back, fullback. You figure he has to get some kind of playing time. Because then if you switch him in for Brown, put Godinho on the right side, at least would have felt like people in their more natural positions. But I like the idea of going to like trying a back four. But this the sad thing is I won't jump ahead and talk the details. Is I mean Brown really looked not great at
He
fullback.
was given a torrid time by Jonathan Lewis, and I
Yeah,
think as soon as you saw that's what the matchup was, which it was going to be pretty obvious that that's what the matchup was going to be, you did worry.
yeah,
You
and
get
and also yeah, I don't think I don't think the four as a whole adjusted the way you would have hoped in general in the game.
yeah, and yeah. I mean, let's get into the game because it got off to a good start, and as I wrote in my match report for this over on AFTN, this game is a little bit like Vanni Sartini's reign as Whitecaps manager. It all started so well, and then the wheels seem to have come off. Because Brian White got, which was a good goal. You've got to say Abubakar. It was a nice little flick over Abubakar to start with by White. But then Abubakar slips.
Okay, Michael, you cannot call that a nice little flick. That was totally misplayed by White. He overhits it.
Really, I have to watch that back. I genuinely
Oh
thought he did a
no,
nice little flick.
no. He gets too much on it. He doesn't want it to go that far. The only reason he got to the ball is because of Bubakar, essentially falls over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's trying to flick it over. I don't think personally he's trying to flick it over his head. And I've watched it a couple times, so maybe I'm wrong. But it all came from. I thought you would be excited because it all came from one of your typical Scottish British
Yes.
long balls forward from Renko. Just a hit and hope, and it gets to White. He has this what I'm calling a poor touch, and then it's Christmas, and then Boubacar is just like, hey, why don't you have the ball and go in? And then to like you said, it was a good goal in the sense of White then controls it, fakes them both defenders out, and they think he's going to shoot it first time with his left. He cuts back on his right and slots home. So in that sense, it was a good finish. But you look at White's face after he scores, and you can tell how lucky he feels to have scored such a goal
Well, it's only his fourth goal in the league this
in
season.
league. Yeah,
And I'll be totally honest, I did not expect him to put that in the back of the net. I thought he was going to mess it up.
oh really?
Yeah, I did. Like the Brian White of last year, I would fully expect to bury that. But with the form that he's been in, I just did not think he was going to tuck it away. But he did. Fair play to him. He took it well. He did everything right that he needed to do. Yeah, Abubakar slipped, but he still has to make the most of that opportunity. So he puts it away, and the Whitecaps have the lead. And then they just seem to stop playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've put this in the notes for the next part, but I'm going to say it here. Is it too much to ask to have a Whitecaps team that actually likes to play with the ball? Instead of this, let's just give possession up. We're good with giving possession up.
Michael, how long have you been watching the Whitecaps now?
Well, that's the thing. It's like from Robbo onwards, that's been our teams. That's been our identity. Was Rennie like that as well?
I think Rennie played. I think he played on the counter a bunch, but I think he didn't hate possession. But to me, I was going to say, Michael, in the MLS era, like it feels like not since like the USL era when the Whitecaps were the big fish in a small pond and had quality players comparatively speaking within the league, where they could play a game where they possessed, had high possession and were, the game was 90 minutes of them trying to break down a team that came to Swangard to defend for their lives to try and get something out of it. um yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not for the entertainment factor, because as I've made very clear, I'd take 1-0 grind out
Yeah.
victories at the end of the day. Old school Nashville, if you want to look at it that way, although they're a different animal this year. Yesterday, though, interestingly, talking of Nashville, I watched the Nashville LA Galaxy game,
Oh yeah.
because there's no other football to watch this weekend of much interest to me.
Whoa,
I think
whoa.
you found some German stuff to watch, but...
Michael, you missed every weekend in the Bundesliga is a great weekend.
Oh yeah, Bayern's going to sack the manager, not top of the table after 6 games. That's shocking. But anyway, let's not get you off on that road. But Nashville were leading LA Galaxy into the 95th, 6th minute, whatever it was, and they had 32% possession at home. So I know it can work, but it would just be nice to actually feel that you're controlling the game and you're taking the game to the opposition. You're not just sitting back waiting for what seems like the inevitable to happen, which in this case it did.
Well, Michael, if my memory might be wrong, but when I was looking at the stats yesterday, I believe that the Whitecaps did have the greater possession in the game.
Oh, no, yeah, but
But I know what you mean. I know what
yeah,
you're saying. Yeah,
after they scored, they basically just gave up possession.
yeah.
And then once Colorado went ahead, they did exactly the same thing. Probably knowing that with who the Whitecaps had on the pitch, there wasn't really going to be much coming back in return. But 9 minutes in, it's 1-0 Vancouver. And then our good friend Jizzy, he got Jizzy with it in the 21st minute. He tied things up. And a couple of things to talk about in this one.
Yeah.
Jonathan Lewis, who was like man of the match, he was outstanding. He tore the Whitecaps a new one. That long ball forward for him to run onto, and it was a great long ball forward as well. I mean, that's worthy getting an assist, but I know they obviously just do first and second assists, but I mean, that set everything up. As soon as that was a foot race with Lewis and Brown was never winning that. Brown was never going to get the better of Lewis.
Yeah, but I think the bigger fault in it is you can't leave a player like Jossie Zardes that wide open.
No, because there was a nice little flick on from Gutierrez as well, although I don't know how much he knew of it. If he tried to control it and in the end he just poked it to Zardes.
Oh no, he intentionally passed it off to Zardes because Zardes was so wide open.
But yeah, again, you leave one of the most dangerous players on the team, and a guy that I would happily try and make a play for in the off-season. Like, let's give Brian White and some gam and get Jizzy Zardes here.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd love that. No, it's a totally intentional pass, and a really good left-footed finish by Jossie Zardes, who isn't always known for his first touch, but he likes to score.
Rocket into the back of the net. I mean, he really got some welly on that.
He likes to score against Vancouver.
Doesn't everyone? Be interesting if you look at some of the top all-time scorers in the league and how many of them have a very high percentage of goals against.
Well, the number one does.
Oh, yes, Wando, Caps killer. How many other Caps killers have we talked about over the years? A lot, it feels.
There's one from Colombia, I think.
Well, then we get just over the half-hour mark, and I guess the big talking point from the game, the contentious talking point from the game, the Kevin Stott show. Although I don't blame Kevin Stott for this at all. I do blame the fourth official because he's gone by the guidance of the fourth official. Of course, I'm talking about the penalty incident, and I've got a few issues with this, and it's not just because it was outside the box. Although that's clearly one of them. I mean, it was outside the box.
Has there been any clarification? I haven't been checking, but has there been any clarification in terms of, like, because it followed through into the box, or
No,
something,
not
something
yet.
I don't
'Cause
understand?
the
Is
pool
something you can help me
reporter,
understand this?
the pool reporter asked the referee afterwards why it was given when the challenge seemed to show it was outside of the box, and he said it went to VAR. I got the check through from VAR that they checked it, and there was nothing to review. There was no clear and obvious error. So I guess VAR did look at it and thought he has carried forward into the box.
So that's the thing. There needs to be some kind of clarification this week from the league.
Oh, there will be, because Pro do very well at reviewing that.
Either there's something that we're not understanding in the laws of the game that we don't know. Maybe it would be nice if Steve was here, because maybe he would. I know he likes to keep up on these things. But there's either something we don't understand in the laws of the game, or the VAR people royally screw this up.
I think it is the latter.
Oh, I think it's the latter
And
too.
obviously a lot's been made of that, and it was a potential game-changing incident. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, it scored at 1-1.
Wasn't potentially game-changing. It was the match-winning goal.
I still think Colorado would have won. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a whole different game at 1-1, and you don't know how the Whitecaps are going to play for the last hour when the game's tied at 1-1. My other big issue, though, with this is Ranko. Because he made the referee have to make a decision.
Yeah.
He knows he's in a tussle with Lewis, so you're probably not going to be in a good position against that guy, so you're pushing and shoving each other 20-25 yards from goal. Bring him down there. Yeah, you might get a booking, so be it, but it's not in a dangerous position. Don't let him get anywhere near the box and then have the contact. Although, again, there's questions, did Lewis catch the back of Ranko?
Yeah.
And was that the clip that sent him down? But you just don't let that happen. You get a tackle in before that. You give up a foul, you give up a booking, whatever. You don't let a referee have to make that decision.
I don't want to be considered a Ranko apologist, but I have to think that that's partly what he was thinking, Michael. Hey, if I just take him down now, I'm outside the box. I get exactly.
But you don't let it that close. You just
right.
can't.
So, and that's where Simon Fudge would say, yeah, his decision making is too slow for MLS. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, but again, it's hard to it's hard for me to fully put this at his feet, because this is such it feels like it's such an egregious error.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It is, and I genuinely don't think it's going to have made much difference to the Whitecaps season. But if the Whitecaps now went out and won their last 4 games, it's now a massive decision.
Yep, that's fair.
Up steps Rubio, buries the penalty as you would expect, and it's 2-1 Colorado.
Cropper went the right way.
Yeah. I thought, Cropper might just somehow get a hand to this and just save the game, and it would have been interesting to see how the last hour played out. It did feel, though, that Colorado were in the ascendancy because we just had stopped playing by that point. Whether they would have gone on to get the winning goal, whether the Whitecaps would have gone on to get the winning goal, would it have been a draw? Obviously, we'll never know, but it was then decided as a 3-1 scoreline with a nice finish by Lewis from a tight angle at the near post. I do feel that's the kind of shot that should never end up in the back of the net, though.
Yeah, and this is where people earlier yelling at their phones or whatever they're listening to this on are saying, why would you want Luis Martins to start when he can get beaten like this?
Okay, I mean, let's be fair, though. Lewis would beat a lot of top-quality fullbacks in MLS.
Yeah.
And the Whitecaps ones as well.
But you're right. I meant saying Crop. I think I don't want to say Cropper should have, but yeah, I agree with you. You'd expect your keeper to get a hand to that.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the angle from behind Lewis, it's such a tight angle. It's a great finish by Lewis. I mean, don't get me wrong, and he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's not a goal you really want to give up. And then after that, it was game over. Colorado saw the game out pretty comfortably. Not too much more to talk about with the game. Just in general, the game, the form of late, it's been woeful. Since they got above the playoff line, pretty much, I guess the RSL game wasn't too bad, but after that, everything else has been woeful, really, to watch. I was trying to think to try and get some positives from this game, and it was tough. The only one I could really come up with is, I think Pedro Vite had one of his best games as a Whitecap.
He had some spark. He had some creativity. I can't think of everything he did, but there was that nice ball he put in that Blackman should have got on the end of. Yeah. He wasn't amazing, but yeah, there were some signs of what he could possibly do.
White's finish was good, but aside from that, I'm struggling to get much positive to take from that. And this is in a week where Vanni said that they really need to step up and etc., do all that stuff, and they just really didn't.
They did not.
And I know it's tough when you're missing two DPs, but at the same time, the flip side of that is Vanni's always telling us he has a squad of 22 players. Yeah. And if you're that reliant, I mean, you can't be reliant on Lucas Cavallini because A, you know he's going to miss a lot of games, and B, he hasn't been a regular starter either. Ryan Gauld is clearly a big loss, but you've got to have the capability to deal with that because he could be injured. He had concussions earlier this year, so you've got to have the players backing you up. Yeah. That if you're missing Gauld for a game or two, that you don't suddenly have nothing in the middle of the park or nothing in the attacking number 10 role.
Yeah, I think Vanni and the staff will be very disappointed that they did not get more from, especially Dahomey when he came on, and even though he came on late, I think Ricketts and Raposo as well. They would have hoped that they could have helped spark things a lot more than they did.
I was a little surprised Simon Beecher didn't get on, considering he came on and scored, and they called him up from WFC 2.
And remind me, they can be called up 4 times and used twice.
4 times, but they can only play twice. So I guess maybe he was thinking after the third goal went in, well, that's our season done. Let's have a look at him in a full game down the stretch.
Because he's been played once, but how many times has he been called up? Is that his third?
I think that was just his second call up. Might have been his third, but
it's just weird if you put him on a bench like later and that the other team knows he can't play.
They wouldn't obviously do that. They wouldn't call him up again.
But they did that already with didn't they do it with Ali Ahmed?
No, because he played twice. He played twice, and then once I don't think he did play, but he's had his 2 things that Ali can't.
That's the thing. I thought he was on the bench another time after that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But that loss, as I mentioned, it put the Whitecaps down to 11th. They're in 34 points. Colorado 10th and 36th. Seattle 9th, hanging in there, still fighting for their playoff lives on 39. Wouldn't it be sweet if the Whitecaps finally got back to some good home form and beat the Sounders next Saturday and put a big nail in the Sounders playoff coffin? I think that's all we can really hope for now for the rest of the season, is for that to happen.
I was going to say, Michael, like what world do you see that happening? In what dimension?
Well, you never know. They could have injuries.
Are you going to go? Are you going to bring some donuts down to like celebrate?
It depends.
Yeah, you should. You got lots of friends there. I mean,
yeah. Well, Jackson Phelps from the radio crew and some of the Radio Cascadia guys are coming up as well. So nice. Get a chance to possibly see them. Just under the playoff line is Wednesday's opponents for the Whitecaps. LA Galaxy. So the Whitecaps' next 2 games, the Galaxy and Seattle. I mean, the Whitecaps could play spoilers here. I'm trying to clutch at straws. I'm trying to finish this part in a positive.
Well, but also mathematically, they're not done, Michael.
Well, they're not. But
they're done.
When you look at how many games are left for the rest, you're pretty much needing every team above you to lose 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a few of them are going to be playing each other, so that's going to be tough. But, I mean, Salt Lake, if they get the win on... Well, I mean, if the Whitecaps win their last 4 matches, they're in 46 points. So right now at the top, LAFC is the only team that's guaranteed in the postseason in the West. They're leading the way on 60 points. Austin's second on 51, so they're all but in. Dallas are third on 49. So you've got Nashville on 46. So technically, the Whitecaps could catch them with 4 wins, and they would have the tiebreaker in wins. So yeah, that's possible. Portland, 45. They're in 5th. Minnesota, 44. Salt Lake, in 43. If the Whitecaps were to lose to the Galaxy on Wednesday, or drop any points at all on Wednesday, a Salt Lake wins pretty much. That's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
But I said this in last week's show, I'm going to say it again. You look at Nashville, they're now sitting 4th, and they were 3rd for one little part of it as well. But that could have been us. When you look at the games we had against Nashville, if they'd gone differently, if we'd kept a run of form, I won't use my usual phrase when I'm talking about ifs.
I was going to say, are you going to switch it?
But it just feels, and this is something else that we've said so many times over the years, that we're just off the pace of so many other teams in terms of quality, depth, excitement. Every off-season, we make some additions, we maybe get a little bit stronger, but the teams round about us, the teams that are below us, get even stronger and make better additions than the couple that we make. And that's something that we need to address.
You should just record that as elegantly as possible, or as profoundly as possible, and then you just play it every year.
It does sadly feel like that, doesn't it?
No, well, that's literally what's happened every year.
Well, we'll take a look then at what might be next for the Whitecaps in the final part of this episode. What does the future hold in store? What does the rest of this season hold in store? We'll be back chatting about all of that after this.
Hey, I am Axel Schuster, and I'm listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Looking forward and you are not looking back. You must have worried, so you'll never get your money back. My baby's playing me another life, getting nowhere fast. I am finished, but I don't say what they want me to. I don't know that you that's what the general public think. My baby's playing me another life, getting nowhere fast. It makes you feel good, you've answered all the questions right. You want a holiday, that will help you sleep tonight. My baby's playing me another life, getting nowhere fast. We're not looking forward and we are not looking back. We must have warranty, we'll never get our money back. My baby's playing me another life, getting nowhere fast. My baby's playing me another life.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, I've gone back to 1987 and a track from the CD version of one of the all-time classic indie debut albums. Leeds band, The Wedding Present. Their album was called George Best. The famous Irish footballer adorns the front cover of that album. It's one of the most iconic indie albums that's got a football front on it. And for me, from first track to last track, and I had the vinyl version and I bought the CD version with the extra tracks. It's just an absolute classic album. That was a song by The Wedding Present called Getting Nowhere Fast. And that song just instantly came into my head when I was drawing up the rundown for this show, because it does feel that the Whitecaps, after 12 years in MLS, are getting nowhere fast. There's a line at the end of the song that says, And I played the whole song there, so if you didn't like it, apologies, but it's a great song. It's only 1:45, live with it. But there's a line at the end of the song that says, "We've lost our warranty, we'll never get our money back." So Cava, I think our warranty's gone on Lucas Cavallini. I don't think the Whitecaps are going to get their money back on him, and it was confirmed by DISCO, 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 that Cava has got a 4-game ban. Oh no, unexpected, not really. He stamped on a guy's neck. Oh. Yeah, 4-game ban for Cava, second of which was served against Colorado. We touched on it on last week's show, Zach. That was the rumours. I thought he might even get 5. They've settled at 4. Still a disgrace. He wasn't at training this past week, is the feedback I got from Har.
Wait, what?
He's probably been given time to think about things.
Think about what things?
Think about what he's done. I was going to start this part with, because you like Belle and Sebastian, because they've got their song, "The Boy Done Wrong Again." And I thought, that's Cava's theme tune. We might do that at the end of the season. We'll try and come up with a theme song for all the players. But yeah, 4 games out. We'll talk about it when it gets to the last 2 games. I still don't think he should play again for the Whitecaps this season. Would not be sad if he doesn't play another game for the Whitecaps at all.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, and from some of the feedback that we got from last week's show, that did seem to be the overriding sentiment, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Now, another line from the Wedding Presents, going nowhere fast, says, "We are not looking forward and we are not looking back." Let's hope that doesn't apply to the Whitecaps and that they're just standing still, because if you look at the 12 MLS seasons that Whitecaps have had, how much have we really advanced? We've not gone backwards, because we're not bottom every single season as in season 1. We have gone backwards this season from last season, but in general...
Weren't they bottom a couple years ago?
Yeah, but we're not bottom now. We're not bottom now. So we haven't gone backwards, but we haven't exactly
they only
taken
would have
the
been
great
relegated
leap forward.
twice.
Yes, we haven't taken the great leap forward. So are we standing still? Well, those round about us make the key additions.
I don't know, but I don't know if you've been keeping up on things, but they really missed out on an opportunity to bring in that local boy Ryan Reynolds as an investor.
Yeah, I mean,
have you watched the show?
I haven't watched the Wrexham thing, because it partly pisses me off that they've gone over and invested in a club in Wales when he has got a local club that he could invest in.
Yeah,
and automatically bring some star power to it.
But that's partly what I've learned from watching the show with my son, is that it's like, it wasn't his thing. It was the other guy. It was the other guy who wanted to do this.
Oh, the other Ryan.
Yeah. No, it's what's the name? Rob.
Oh, Rob.
Rob and Ryan. So the Rob McElhenney or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
he was the one. He wanted to do this, but there's no way he could afford. He has TV money, but he needed movie money and what do you say? Superhero money and alcohol company owner money and mobile owner. Like he as soon as he met with
even for Wrexham.
Yeah, apparently. Well, because they've
got high hopes, I know, to get them up the leagues and everything. Yeah, that's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
I don't know if it's actually on Disney Plus right now. It maybe will be one day, but I just watched it on TV on FX or whatever channel.
Oh,
so yeah.
Oh, because FX isn't FX on Disney?
I think some of their shows are. Yes.
Well, I will tell you what. I will check this out. I'll catch up with it and we'll do a TVOD.
Oh yeah.
Because I'd like to chat about that.
That's a good one.
Because I have been following Wrexham's fortunes. I've followed Wrexham's fortunes since I went out the league because I loved the racecourse ground. It was your traditional old school football stadium, which is now obviously getting changed, all seating and stuff like that. But they had so much standing terracing around there, and for me, I think of Wrexham. I think about their cup win over Arsenal, Mickey Thomas, and just like great cup runs and stuff like that as well. So they are a big club. They should be back in the Football League.
My son and I
came so close last season. Maybe this is the season.
My son and I are enjoying watching it. This summer we watched all. He's seen now all the All or Nothings, and even Sunderland Till I Die. And every so often I mean, he doesn't love Sunderland, thank goodness. He calls them Sutherland too often. But he and I say no, they're not owned by Kiefer.
See, I was thinking Donald.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That shows our age difference.
But he loves the theme song from that, so I put it on my phone. So every so often I'll just start playing it.
Ah, I'll maybe catch up with those because we're going to have a very long off season. Let's be brutally honest here. So we're going to have a lot of airtime to fill.
We're enjoying watching Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah. Also, let's be totally honest as well. The off-season shows are our favourite shows.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's the ones that we get to go 3 hours, and folk are like, how are you doing 3-hour shows when there's no football on? Because it's the most enjoyable part of following the Whitecaps when they're not playing. The actual football on the pitch is what spoils it.
Which says something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, when you ask, like, where are they at and whatever, it's like, yeah, they failed to capture the imagination of the city they play in because they have never. I get that you don't want to overpay for players and whatever, but they've been intentional about never bringing in a player that casual football fans have heard of, right? Like even just think, Welcome to Wrexham. How many people knew about Wrexham football or Wrexham AFC before this thing? Right, and how many Americans and North Americans? Ryan Reynolds tweeted out something like, "Oh, like Canada knows what's up," because it was like it had like the second highest ratings after like Game of Thrones in Canada or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like the second most watched show according to some whatever.
Something that really pisses me off though is that the National League, they don't have a broadcasting deal. I love non-league football. I've talked a lot about it. So they don't have a broadcasting deal. And they've gone even further this year that they will not let clubs sell individual rights to games for overseas viewers and stuff anymore.
Yeah, I think they've been disappointed about that.
Baffling to me.
Because during the beginning of the pandemic, they were watching on dodgy streams.
Yeah.
Say in one interview, and
in the UK, it's BT Sport that's got the right for it, and a lot of folk don't have BT Sport to watch it. And I've got highlight shows over the weeks from various different meetings and stuff as well, but I'd love to watch more of the non-league football. Anyway, we're getting totally sidetracked. Let's talk about Canada's non-league football teams and get back to the Whitecaps here.
No, but seriously, they've failed to like capture people.
Because there's some big clubs last season, the season before, and this season in the National League that's gone out, the Football League that's gone bust, and they're trying to get back into it. And I think there'd be a lot of interest. And the games that I watch regularly on it, absolutely fantastic football. It's it's very entertaining.
I'm talking about the Whitecaps.
Oh, I was back to non-national league.
No, I was saying the Whitecaps have failed to capture the people's imagination.
Sorry.
Bringing in.
Let's get back to Whitecaps. We are a Whitecaps podcast. You're trying to bring it back. I tried to rein it in, and then you did rein it in, and then I just went back off again. So Whitecaps, one solitary playoff win in 12 MLS seasons.
And some people in this country, I think, like to remind them that it was technically a play-in game.
Yeah. I hadn't even remembered that.
Although I think they have some playoff draws, right?
Oh, yeah. We drew 0-0 with Seattle.
And
we drew 0-0 with Portland.
some like momentous matches.
Oh, classics.
Yeah.
Again. Is it wrong to want a team that actually plays decent football? Anyway, this season, it does feel like a regression, and not just because they've not made the playoffs, but ultimately is why.
It feels like a regression, though, because last year they incredibly overly achieved.
Well, they did. And we touched on it on last week's show about Vanni and whether he was secure or not, and my thoughts, and I had a chat with Greg Petrie on Twitter about this, our good friend and long-time listener, and he said, I feel you're overestimating how secure Vanni's job is. And I said, I can't see them not giving him the start to the season, getting the Champions League games out the way, and then just seeing how he starts the year after building the squad. And then I was thinking about it, and then I watched the game last night. I think he's in a perilous situation here, depending on how these last 4 games go.
Are you saying that his future's on a shiggly peg?
Shiggly peg, yes.
Shiggly peg.
His coat is on a shiggly peg.
Yeah.
I think it is now.
I mean, I last year I said they shouldn't bring him back, but um, it's weird, right? Because you look at the year or year and a half, whatever he's had, and he came in on the back of them losing in the Voyageurs Cup in our national, our one national, truly national competition, and then going on this crazy run, making the playoffs and like going out with a whimper. And here you are this year, and he's won the national title. Like he's won the Voyageurs Cup, or the title, the national Canadian championship for the Voyageurs Cup. He's won that, and he's not going to make a player, not likely to make up the playoffs, not likely to get that one extra away game and lose, and is considered a failure. It's to me, I'm not pro Vanni staying or anything, but to me, it's kind of like you're going to fire the guy who's won like one of your, you've won two of these tournaments ever, and you're gonna, I don't know. I'm not saying he should be given more time, but that surely has to be one of the reasons why they
Yeah,
might.
well, that's why I was pretty sure he was going to at least get the start of the season. But
Yeah. Having said that too, the Voyageurs Cup, they did have the easiest road to the Voyageurs Cup.
It was like beating CPL teams and then just beating TFC. We're not trying to like disparage the win. They still have to beat the teams in front of them, and it was a great run, and it was a great moment, a great evening, and it's one that's going to long live in the memories of Whitecaps fans. I had a great time. Highlight of the season by a country mile. The second highlight of the season was getting above the playoff line, and we didn't even do shows during that because I was away back in Scotland. So we've only had the one really good thing to celebrate this season. The thing that I feel is going to make it perilous for Vanni is 3 of these last 4 games are at home.
Oh, yeah.
And the home form's not been great. It started off good, but off late it hasn't been great. And these are tough games that they've got as well. You've got the Galaxy, you've got Sounders, you've got Austin. Now, on current form, I don't expect them to get maybe a point against the Galaxy, but that might be it. Maybe a point against Austin because they aren't as good away from home as at home.
Oh, well, I think Greg Vanny's going to Greg Vanny, both Seattle and LA Galaxy need to take the 3 points.
Well, Vanni's coat was hanging by, like Greg Vanni's coat was hanging by a sugly peg until that last-ditch penalty, which was a penalty. It was definitely a penalty. And then they tied it up and they got a point at Nashville.
Like
Without that point, he was in trouble.
I think, like I said at the beginning of the year, I still think he's going to find a way to get them in the playoffs.
I then was starting thinking, watching that Nashville game, and I thought the Galaxy were going to lose. Not being funny here, I'm genuine about this. Would you take Greg Vanni for our Vanni? If Vanni Sartini got fired and Greg Vanni was available, would you take him?
I think the Vancouver Whitecaps would be in a much better place if they had Greg Vanni as their head coach as opposed to Vanni Sartini, for sure.
I think I would as well. Of course, there's a famous German manager that's looking for work just now. Has worked with Axel before.
Oh, yeah, that's not how
just been let go by Chelsea.
That was you saw. I think last week he tweeted that as a joke, and then people were like, "Oh,
but I like when he was fired, I was like, ooh."
No,
Jurgen Klopp might be available soon.
Thomas Tuchel is he is a very unique personality who has trouble getting along with individuals,
but we're all friendly here in Vancouver.
Yeah, that won't matter. He's obviously a very good coach, but he's the kind of person where I don't see him lasting long anywhere, really.
I'm genuinely stunned that Chelsea got rid of him at this point, but anyway, that would be fun. But I think there's a lot of pressure on Vanni because these games are at home, and we're still in a season ticket campaign as well.
Yeah. Well, what is that, September 15th or something?
I saw something. Was it not extended to October now? Or did I?
Really?
I might have dreamt that. Let me double check. But it is going to be interesting what the renewals are. And of course, you do still have the whole executives thing hanging around, and a lot of folk are saying that they're not going to renew until they know about that or they find out what's happening. And if the team's on a bad run of form, it's not obviously an easy sell. if you got rid of a manager, which they have done before, it adds a little bit of spice to things, and it gets folk a little bit more intrigued. But whether Vanni stays or not, I think everyone can agree that there is a lot of change needed in this squad. Now, I say maybe everyone can agree. It's going to be interesting to see if Vanni feels that and if Axel says that, to be honest. What I don't want to hear in the post-season press conference that they're going to have for Media Day is we only need to make a few additions to get back to being competitive, because they don't.
We said last year that when they said that they were delusional because they barely got in last year, and it was a very unique situation that they were able to take advantage of by going on an amazing run they did.
And you saw other teams adding even stronger pieces about them.
And then you had the whole thing, our new additions are the guy who got injured and never played. And it was like, no, that's not a new addition. And by the way, he never played this year. And
he's gone now.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. I don't think I've seen this discussed anywhere, but I have been a little bit off Twitter the last few weeks, so maybe not fully up to date with everything. Ryan Gauld. Good last season, good this season, key player for the Whitecaps. Will he want to stay around? Will he be garnering interest, maybe from within MLS, but more likely from the UK?
Oh, he doesn't like to stay at relegated sides. Will he consider this relegation?
No, he wouldn't. I mean, he does like it here. He likes life here. But at the same time, he's going to want to be on a winning team.
I can see
like
Ryan
Max
Gould.
Crepeau.
I can see Ryan Gould honoring his contract, but not like doing whatever he can to tell them like, hey, do not take my option. Right? Because I think he has three guaranteed years.
It's probably 3+1, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see that. I can see him being like, look, if you take my option, I'm gonna, cause a stink or whatever.
I mean, I'm pretty sure English Championship, Scottish Premier, maybe even lower English Premier will be interested in him.
Or he'll say to them, take my option, but then you have to transfer me, kind of thing.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Ryan moved on at the end of the season. And I haven't heard anything that's just pure speculation.
But they can't. Surely they can't allow that to happen.
If someone comes in with money for him.
They finally have a number 10, who they, to be fair, haven't fully surrounded with players to help him. But they have a number 10, and they seem to have a quality number 6 in Kubas. They surely can't get rid of him.
He has fallen off a bit. He seems to have come down to the rest of the team's level.
That's a fair critique. But I think he still I think he still has more than enough potential to be a good number 6.
He does. And we've got Schopf now as well.
Yeah.
Who looked absolutely gassed last night down there. Oh, he looked that he was not handling those conditions well.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I was talking to him post-game, one of the first questions would be like, oh, when's the last time you played at altitude? And was it as draining as this?
Yeah. How much weight do you feel you've lost in that game?
Yeah. I think he hasn't played as well as I thought he would yet, but
no.
But again, I think there are some good pieces there.
But that's the thing. Like the Whitecaps have always been criticised in the past. Oh, you're not spending money. Where's the Davis money gone? Like,
who's Davis?
Davies.
Oh, Davies. Oh.
Where's the Davies money gone?
And then people are like, hey, that was
people seem to think that Davies money is like a bottomless pit of cash that is going to last forever.
Well, they think that Kerfoot put in the bank and is just spending the interest,
which they're not allowed to do. It's like it has to get put back into the team. The owners can't pocket it. It's MLS rules.
Yeah.
But you look at the fact they have spent money, and the scouting and the recruitment has been much better. You look at the people that's come in from within MLS. Gressel, Blackman, although after my comments on Blackman last week, a few people did get in touch to say, look, he's been at fault for goals as well. He's not great. He's still a quality MLS defender. I don't have issues with keeping him around.
I rate Gressel very highly.
Gressel. So, I mean, yes, if you're looking at a starting 11, there's probably half a team to build it around.
But the problem is they have these players that they're starting too often who don't deserve to be starting.
Yes.
Because they're on like legacy contracts and they serve the club off the field apparently and whatever.
Yeah,
like,
and we don't have a starting 11.
Those players need to be gone. Like you have to make football decisions, and those people need to be moved on. Which I can't see them doing. Well, I can see them maybe doing one, but I can't see them doing both in the
But
offseason.
it's going to be tough to move some of them on. Like a guy like Florian Jungwirth, he's just got a
He's
1 year
done.
deal, so he
He's
can go. Although he is in the coaching staff for, I think it's the under 17s, 16s or 17s.
There's no way he's a player next year.
No
way.
So I mean, he's going to be off the books. That's what 600,000 or something that they're freeing up salary wise. Jake Nerwinski for me. He had trade value. He still has trade value, but his salary is going to be prohibitive, I feel, for some teams trying to take him off the Whitecaps' hands.
Yeah, but he's
Russell
a player
Tybert, on that salary, who would take him in MLS?
Yeah. And that's the problem. Didn't they just renew one or both of them last year?
Mm-hmm.
Or they both been renewed in the last 2 years?
Yeah.
It just and even Brian White, like I said, we said last year, Brian White had overperformed. And then they gave him a new big deal. Like they should have sat down and said, "Look, you were excellent this year. We're going to give you a mid-level raise, but if you have another year like this, we'll sit down again, and we're willing to, like I don't understand."
So now he's on a high ticket, and he's got 4 MLS goals to his name.
Exactly.
That's not. It's like you can negotiate with other teams, going, "Oh, look what he did in 2021," and they'll be like, "Yeah, look what he did in 2022."
Yeah. Yeah,
it's going to be tough. There's some tough decisions need to get made.
And around that, tied into the whole coaching situation, is how do you actually want them to play? Like, are they going to keep going in the back three kind of direction? I think that really influences, because if you want to go in that route, you need much better wing backs.
Yeah,
I mean, Gressel obviously is I think great. But on the other side, something tragic has happened with Gutierrez, and no one else who's played the position is good enough, in my opinion, on an ongoing basis.
What happens though then if you've got a new coach that comes in and that's not how he wants to play?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's what I mean. This is what Axel Schuster's job is: is to be over all of that, to help decide all of that, to help shape and frame that, right? So I mean, that's the number one thing they're going to be, the number one thing on the decisions they're making or that they've already made is, do we want to keep going with Vanni, and including, do we want to keep going in a 3 at the back kind of direction, or do we want to change it up? And is the person we want to bring in, how do they want to approach things?
Yeah.
And so this is where now you have, to their credit, they have some better football people having these conversations at the football club. People like Axel, people like Overhaul, and probably one or two others are having these types of conversations, right? So, but these decisions, I would hope that they've been made internally by now, and they know what they're going to be doing in the offseason. But
because that was something I was going to say to you. Now, I'll put my cards on the table here. If the Whitecaps got into the playoffs and were one and done again, to me, that's no different than not making the playoffs, really. Yeah, it's like, I really could not give a toss or stand another time. It's like, oh, we made the playoffs. We're out of the playoffs.
You wouldn't give a toss, but would you give it to Home?
Maybe. Who hasn't had a great season, but has not, I don't know. We'll talk about the Homie when we do our keep trade or release. There's a great player in there, but has he been utilised to his best of his abilities?
He is a perfect example of why a reason why you don't keep Vanni. Right, when he comes out last offseason says 75% he's going to be a wingback for me, and we're all like, that doesn't make sense. Like, one, he's not good enough defensively. Two, he was one of your most creative attacking options and goal scoring threats, and now you're going to make him do a lot of the heavy lifting at the back, like or play more both ways. This doesn't make sense. Like, that's been one of his big failures.
If the Whitecaps are mathematically confirmed not to be making the playoffs, say after Wednesday, If the decision has been made that they're going to let Vanni go at the end of the season or not bring him back for next year, I let him go then.
At a normal football club, I think that's what you do. At the Vancouver Whitecaps, I respect that they don't want to lose money on something like that, and they do it as soon as they can when the contract's done. Like I don't.
He's got a 2-year deal. That's the thing. Though.
Right. Oh, right.
So
then,
it's like it doesn't matter. They'd have to pay him out. The other thing though is he's still director of methodology, so they might want to keep him around in that role. Maybe Vanni will say, "Look, you know what? I don't think I'm the right man for this job."
No, there's no way he's going to say that. No, absolutely no way.
I don't think so either, but I just threw that one out there. But the reason that I'm saying I'd let him go now is because if they're out after Wednesday, you've still got 3 games to play, and that's the time to evaluate players, to look at systems, call up some of the young guys for WFC2, which it also has to be mentioned, WFC2 fizzled out after a good start as well.
Yeah.
And that was very disappointing. It's like they were right in the playoff hunt, and then for whatever reason, it's just the wheels have come off in the last third of the season. And they've just dropped, and they struggled to get wins on the board. The highlight, outside of the Canadian Championship win, the Whitecaps Girls Elite Rex team winning League 1 BC is the big success story for the Whitecaps this season.
Yeah. You get to call that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's been one of my highlights of the season as well. That and being there at BC Place for winning the Canadian Championship. Fantastic occasions and the success stories for the club. But then you're looking at the pathway, you look at WFC2, you look at some of those young guys. Ali Ahmed, great potential, surely will get an MLS deal next year. Fullback stroke wing back. So if you're bringing him in as a real talent, you've got to be cutting some of these other guys loose.
He's more right-sided than left-sided, right?
Yeah. So then you're looking at Nowinski, Brown, Godinho, that.
Yeah.
So
Gressel can sort of play on the left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can play everywhere. He seems to be the Swiss Army knife right now. You've got to use these remaining games. I understand they won't do it on Wednesday because they're still in the mix.
Yeah.
But once it's mathematically, which I hope is sooner rather than later, just so they can have more games to look at things.
Put everyone out of their misery.
Yeah. They've got to look at young guys. Give Hassel the last 3 games, if it's 3 games. Try Javane Brown as a centre-back in a flat-back 4. See how he looks there. Try these little things that you can do to make some decisions on people. Play Dahomey out and out, maybe as the main person up front. Play him with Gold up front. Maybe don't play Brian White. Don't let Cava come back for his last couple of games. Call up some WFC2 guys that you maybe haven't called up or haven't played that you might want to have a look at.
Well, which ones? There's some that have MLS deals, right?
Well, yeah, like Mattia Capagna.
Yeah, he
throw him in as a centre back.
Yeah,
let's see what he can do back there.
Totally.
Otherwise, why keep these guys about? We've already lost Christian Capagna.
Yeah.
He went and joined Halifax. And
you need to do that in those type of games. I agree with you.
Yeah.
The first
Jay Herdman, give him a call up. Theo Colom, get Easton and Garrow in again.
The first banner ever created in the MLS era was I helped create, I should say, because I had an artist student helping me with this, but was the Big Phil Must Play. You know?
Oh, yes.
And that was a travesty that they never let that kid play.
Yeah. Last game of the season, absolutely nothing to play for.
Yeah. And Colin Miller, who I strongly appreciate, I still don't buy the whole, it was based on what was best in training that week. Like, dude.
It's the last game of the season, man. It's like,
everything was over. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting 4 weeks to the end of the season, and there could be still a lot of drama in this. And as I said, the Whitecaps can play spoilers as well for the Galaxy and the Sounders, which would be absolutely hilarious. There's also questions around players, questions around the coach, how this off-season off-build is going to be. So it's going to be a long time between the end of the MLS regular season and the start of next year for the Whitecaps. But we've got Champions League to look for. I'm genuinely more excited for what is to come in the next couple of months than I have been for much of this season, if I'm being brutally honest. It's not been a fun season. It's not been a fun team to watch for a lot of games. Yeah. And they've clung in there. And that shows the fighting spirit. Those late goals, those late comebacks, it shows that this team does have that fight. They just don't have the quality. And this, we've said this, probably this will be the third or fourth off-season in a row. This is a massive off-season for the Whitecaps. There's only so many times you can say that before it's like, yeah, does it really matter anymore? Are the fans going to come back at all?
The very fair questions to ask, Michael.
Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Like we're doing the Twitter stuff now, and the
yeah, we can do that. Just in general, Whitecaps are in general, because I feel I started off in a high positive and I have finished it doom and gloom. That's what I thought was going to happen. It's not really ideally how I like to end the show. So bring us back up. Will I dig out another Panini sticker album to look through? Germany 2006.
That's a good one. I was there.
It's a complete one I've got as well. Actually, it's missing one sticker because I misordered, and I've still got one sticker to complete that.
Yeah. No, I mean, in terms of the Whitecaps, I don't know if I have anything that can bring the mood up, because it even though they've made some good they've made some good moves. There's been some good decision making and stuff. They're I think still held back by parts of their approach, and so I don't see them, turning things around quickly. Although I will say MLS is a league where you can turn things around very quickly.
Look at Dallas.
Yeah, MLS is unlike most leagues in the world. MLS it's not easy, but it's very doable to transform your club's fortunes within 1 year.
It's certainly going to be interesting looking at who stays and who goes. There's another expansion draft coming up as well.
Oh, right. Wait, are the Whitecaps exempt because they had someone taken or not?
No.
Or is it one of those? No, not one of those. No. Okay. Well, maybe Jake or Rusty will be taken.
Oh, we can but hope. Let's get on the phone to St. Louis.
Yeah,
Manuel knows that. Manuel's the German guy that's there. Get him in the ringer,
dude. You know the German who's there. He played in Vancouver.
Yeah. I know.
Good old Lutz.
I know.
He's already signed up.
Yeah, he follows me on Twitter. We've chatted a couple of times.
He's already signed up like a whole bunch of guys who played in the Bundesliga.
Actually, we'll get him on the show in the off season.
Roman Berkey is playing for their USL team this year to get ready.
Yeah, they've had a good season getting ready for that with that USL team.
I have another Roman.
We'll get him on the show in the off season as we build up to that draft. That'll be a good chat. I'm genuinely looking forward to the off season shows. I've got a few fun things planned, as you would no doubt expect, and of course we've got a Winter World Cup to be doing as well.
I literally, was it today? It was today or yesterday. I was just like, I want to make up another Jeopardy quiz.
We need to have another pulled off at half time as well. Our quiz show.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Is it really branded that?
Yeah.
Oh my.
You were on it.
Yeah. Well, I blocked that part out. That's for sure. Okay, I have my way to end the show.
Okay. End it on a high.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at ZacharyAM. I'm going to go to German football because I know you love it. You want to be kept abreast of everything going on there.
They play in France, I believe.
Michael, you're so you. We're match day 6 this weekend of the Bundesliga, and Bayern Munich has had 3 draws in a row.
Oh, this is a feel-good thing to end. Yeah. I always liked hearing about their downfall.
I'm
not allowed to say downfall about German things, sorry.
For 2 weeks in a row, and for a little while will likely be, they will not be at the top of the table. So I know everyone's like,
the onions are at the top.
They'll find their way to the top. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Union Berlin. This is their first stint ever in the Bundesliga. It's their 4th year. I believe they finished 11th and then 7th and then 5th. They qualified for, I think, the Conference League was 2 years ago, like last year. And this year they're in the Europa League. and they are, for the first time ever in their history, at the end of a match day, the top of the Bundesliga. So I just want to give a shout out to Union Berlin and their
long-time
supporters.
listeners of the show.
No, but there's some who in German football I think who would follow them. They're like a St. Pauli-esque.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I've got to be honest. When they got promoted a few years ago, I took a little bit of an interest in them. That would be the team I would be cheering on.
Yeah. So big shout out to them. And also, I saw this weekend that the Bayern supporters, who have a close relationship with a couple of clubs, were celebrating what I believe is the 20th anniversary of the St. Pauli's ultra group. With a small display in their section.
That's an interesting thing to celebrate another team.
Well, I think there's some close connections there because they've had like when Sadio Mane went and celebrated with them with the supporters at the away match, the first or second match of the year. They had a giant St. Pauli Ultras banner hanging in front of the section with all the other banners. So I don't know what goes around that.
If the Whitecaps were a German team, who would they be then?
Oh, they would be. Hang on. They would be like Hoffenheim. Oh, Hoffenheim's owned by a guy who owns a big. I think it's like a tech company, SAP. And everyone hates them. So yeah, I think.
Well, people love the Whitecaps,
and they have a giant stadium that they don't fill.
Although that is a story across MLS at the moment, because there wasn't a lot of, well, I was going to say there wasn't a lot of full seats. There wasn't tons of empty seats, but there were empty seats certainly at Colorado.
Yeah, well, I will say this, because I do watch 7 to 9 Bundesliga games a week.
Oof.
The stadiums all of them haven't been full like they used to be. I don't know if it's a pandemic thing, like a post-pandemic thing or whatnot. Now, there's still some are full, and the ones that aren't full still have like tens of thousands of people, but it's not quite back to where it used to be.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, did you watch? TFC's almost out too, right?
Oh yes, I watched the. Who were they playing?
Atlanta.
Yes.
It's not
an entertaining game.
Yeah, it's not a good, you have to do some kind of serious analysis when you allow a defender to score a hat trick from 3 corners.
Yes.
Like, that was shocking. And I know what you want to say, that the last one was because he was being marked by Danielle Henry, or zonally marked by Danielle Henry, but
it was
the first one
for him.
The first one, he outright out-jumped Lucas Monatin, who was replaced by Henry later in the game. But no, it was not, I mean, a horrible way to lose a match.
Yes, it's looking good for Montreal, though. They're going to be Canada's team in the playoffs. We've got a lot of football to chat about still this year, so we'll be having patch shows, so don't expect anything else. Give us a follow on Twitter at AFTN Canada and read all our stuff on aftn.ca. We'll be back soon. Will the Whitecaps have got 2 wins under their belt by that point, or will the season officially be over? Let's find out soon. Until then, thanks for listening, take care, and Mon the Caps!
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.